welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here a flashback review, and this is of a Montblanc 146. Now this has, you don't see this sort of much nowadays, but I'll go into that in a little bit. But you've got the Montblanc Starflake or Snowflake there, I should say, and it is a 146 there. But this comes with a double broad nib, a BB nib, and I got this second hand. I have tried, unfortunately when it came second hand it didn't come in a box. This was about 7 years ago, and it had been inked up, and since then I've written with the nib. I love the double broad nib on this. The issue, and I love the two-tone colour nib on it as well. The issue I have, and I think that's an 18 karat gold nib there as well. The issue that I have is that the double broad has a baby's bottom to it. And I have tried and tried and tried to remove that baby's bottom myself. I've done it successfully on some other pens. I've just not been able to do it on this pen. So every now and again it will hard start or skip. And it's always down in the vertical downstrokes of the pen. As I said, I got this about 7 years ago. I didn't up until that point do Montblanc. I did get a 149 in what I think is an extra fine nib. That wrote perfectly, still does. This does write nicely. It's just that it has a bit of hard start or skip now and again. And you just have to then recorrect it when you're writing. I probably could actually take it to a nibmeister and get that removed, or I could even get it ground down maybe to a medium nib, and that might be a little bit less or more tolerant in terms of baby's bottom. But I like the double broad nib on this. It's just really the hard starts or skips, so bit of a shame from that perspective. And that's why I don't write with it as much as I would normally prefer to. So when people have asked me, well, I don't see any Montblancs in your collection, at least up until the beginning of this year. Yes, I did. I had a 149 in an extra fine, and I had a 146 in a double broad. It's just they're black pens. I don't write with black pens that much. Same with my Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age Oversize. So I would sort of struggle to ink these up. I don't do black inks, and yes, I do grey inks or grey inks that are almost black, and I could put one of those in there now. But in this one, I typically would put a red ink and or a blue ink or a purple ink. I tried various inks, and none of that seems to correct it, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a pen I have in my collection. I got it for a fairly good price. I'm not going to say it was the best price, but it certainly was probably about 50% off of the retail price. I think it was back then anyway, and obviously prices have increased as well over the years. But it's just a pen that I keep in my collection. I don't write with it as much. I probably should add it to my collection in terms of writing with it on the rotation more. And maybe I'll try and make an effort to do that in the near future. So I think with that, let's do a comparison with other pens. So from left to right, we have a Benu Euphoria Earl Grey Tea. We have a Montblanc, and this is Around the World in 80 Days. We have a Marjon Titanium TI 136. We have a Visconti Ecstasy de Oud. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age Oversize in the Lava Edition. We have a Montblanc 146 in a double broad nib. And you can see it's actually quite a shorter and thinner pen to what I'm used to. We have a Parker Duofold Prestige, and this is a ruthenium chisel. We have a Montblanc Le Petit Prince Aviator Solitaire Duet. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi, and a Visconti Homo Sapiens Corsani 90. So, I think let's now do a writing sample. So this is the Montblanc 146 in a double broad, and I think it's an 18 karat gold nib. Pretty sure it is. But you can see it is quite a double broad nib. The ink in here today is Franklin, Christoph, and it's Sweet Maroon. Now, I will say at this moment in time, it's not actually unstarted or skipped, but it will do at some point. Maybe not in this review, but I'm sure it will do. So in terms of line variation, yeah, you are definitely getting a broad, double broad nib. I could push it a bit more and it really becomes more of a paintbrush. But you can see here that it almost looks like a stub nib, a 1.3mm stub nib. You can also see there's no, on the vertical lines, there's no hard starts or skips here. So, as I said, it's actually writing, it's behaving quite nicely. In terms of ink wetness, let's take a look. This is going to be a moderately wet nib. The ink is a dry ink that I normally find, Sweet Maroon. But you can see there, though, that it is quite a broad nib, a double broad nib. What do I like? What do I not like about it? Well, I got it for a good price at the time. It didn't come with a box. And to be honest, you're probably not going to get much out of the standard Montblanc 146 boxes anyway. It's going to be a small box. It's just what it is. So it didn't bother me that much that I didn't get a box with it. What do I like about the pen? That's a difficult one, because more lately this year I've liked Montblancs, I've liked the writer's editions. I'm not really a fan of the resin pens. I think they are way overpriced. Well, even the writer's editions are, but I definitely think that the resins are way overpriced for what they are. I'd like to like this nib, but it's just, it is a nice writing nib, don't get me wrong. It's just, when you get baby's bottom on a nib, it just becomes a challenge to write with, because you're constantly recorrecting your letters because when you write, because you might get a bit of a skip there. So I think that's really the only I would say downside. It's quite a few downsides there, actually. Am I a fan of the Montblanc 146 in the standard resin? No. Am I a fan of the double broad nibs from Montblanc? No. I'd say again, I do like their medium nibs and I do like their writer's edition pens. I do really, really like those. Just not really too much of a fan of the resin versions or the 146 or a double broad nib that has baby's bottom on it. But that said, it's still in my collection. I've not really wanted to sell it. I don't think there'll be many people that would want to buy it. But if there is, let me know. I'm happy. If you want a double broad nib, then do let me know. Do reach out to me. I don't have the original box, but I can ship it in another pen box for you. But it's a nice pen. It's just, and it's a nice writing nib. It's just every now and again you get a little bit of hard start or skip. But as you can see, there's none of that happening here on this review at the moment. So there you have it. That's my flashback review of the Montblanc 146 in a double broad 18 karat gold nib. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.